Hey guys, Bridget here. In this video we're going to create some notification alerts using variants. Now this is part of a series in which we're creating an entire design system from scratch, but you can follow along even if you haven't followed the previous videos. But if you're interested in that, I'm going to leave them in the design system playlist. Now let's get started with the very first element, which for the sake of convenience is going to be one of these rectangles right here. So we're going to use the same basic color, and we're first of all going to basically select a color for the notification, which in this case is going to be this blue, and then we're going to add a text style which is going to be the main notification message. So it's going to say, and we're going to bring it right here. Let's round up the corners just a little bit, and let's make it just a bit longer in size. And let's also use the same blue color that we see right here. All right, so far so good. Now in this case we're going to go with 11 of font size, and we're using Montserrat, which is a free Google web font. And another thing that we're gonna leverage is some icons. So we already added some icons from the previous videos. Now alternatively, what I usually like to use for icons is Nucleo Icons, which is essentially a software which allows you to browse through the icons and then drag and drop them in Figma directly. So that's usually very useful and just very easy to use overall. Now in this case, what I'm gonna do is I want some sort of alert notification of some sorts, and we're going to go with this outline right here. So let's make it just a little bit smaller, and we're going to make this blue, or actually the main icon. So this one right here, it's going to be in blue, and there we go. Now we're also going to make all of this into a auto layout, just for sake of conveniency. We're going to center all of this over here, and yeah, so far so good. Probably let's just add a little bit of more padding to the right, and yeah, there we go. All right, so we have our basic alert, and what we're gonna do next is we're going to basically turn this alert into a variant. So in order to do that, we need to create a component, and then this alert is now the master component. So we can now see the variant option, and we can create our different variants of this alert. So I'm going to make the variant section bigger so that it's just easier to work around. And now comes the fun part, because we're going to create the different variations of this alert and creating all the different variants. So first one is going to be this one. Let's just make it white, and let's make this white as well, and you're going to see why in just a second. And here we go. Have our blue version of this alert. Are we going to use it often? Probably not, because it's very pronounced in the UI, but nonetheless an option that we can leverage. So we're going to actually use some of these colors right here. So let's just go ahead and change these colors. Let's make it like the background lighter. So it's probably going to be something around these lines, so that we can easily just see the text still, but nonetheless we have this icon right here. All right, so far so good. So let's go ahead and let's create some other variations of this. So we're going to have them right here. And we're going to go with this red color, and let's just adopt also this one right here. Let's make it lighter, just like that. And also let's change the color of this other alert, and right here. All right, so far so good. Let's make it a little bit lighter, and there we go. All right, so far so good. Now let's make a white version of this. So we're going to go with well, first of all, we're going to change the main color of this one, right, of this guy, and let's also make it very similar to this other one. Now we're probably going to copy the drop shadow, and basically this is going to allow us to mimic the same style as the button. So blur free Y2 and then 25 on 0, 0, 0, 0. So just gonna keep that in mind. 3, 2, and this one is already set by default, but as you can see it's slightly different than the button. So we're probably going to just make it a little bit lighter, I would say. So just a bit. And actually I think this is going to work well for a smaller element such as this one right here. So always consider things in context and try to adapt them in order to suit the environment that you're building these for. So alright, so far so good. We're going to make this just a little bit lighter, just because I like that visual style, and let's capitalize this. And now comes the fun part, because we're essentially going to have properties within these alerts which we can set. And the property in this case is going to be, first of all, the color, and second of all, I would say the intensity of the alert. So if it's a primary alert, visually speaking, it's going to be something around these lines. If it's a secondary alert, we're going to have something around these lines. So let's set the very first one up. So first one, for property, we're going to have color and then blue, then comma. In order to set the second property, we're going to say priority and then primary. All right, so we're going to copy this over here. The only thing that we're going to change in this one is going to be the priority, which is going to be secondary. And then we're going to do the same for this one right here. Priority, primary. And actually, let's copy this one as well. Priority, secondary. And this one's going to be red. Again, it's going to be primary. And then this one's secondary. Same work over here, and you're going to see the end result in just a moment, so just bear with me on this, as it's going to make more sense really soon. All right, and secondary. So what do we just did? We essentially set the two priorities, and if I go over here on the assets panel and I go under these UI components, you're going to see that we have this alert, and as we bring it in the design file, and we can bring it in any page really, we're going to see under the variance section these two properties which we just set. So we can set the color, and it's basically a drop down which we can select from, so very easy. And then we can set the different priority based on that alert type. So hope this was useful, and now in the second part of the video I'm just going to continue to build up the design system, and I'm going to do some stuff which is usually a little bit more boring, so I'm just going to speed up the video and you can still see it, but I want to keep all of the things that we're working on video, so that you can see what building a design system really looks like from scratch. And I want to remind you that I also launched a free course on how to get started in UI UX design, so feel free to check it out if you're interested in that topic. And now we're going to simply continue building up the design system one step at a time.